Our first participant this evening is Marivel Mendez DeLeon, and she is a native of Live Oak County, and she's our first of two local participants this evening. She has chosen Jovita's story that is in this book to share with us this evening. Marivel was born beneath the wide skies of South Texas, where the wind carries the tang of mesquite and the land remembers every footstep. She grew up between the barrio of Three Rivers and the ranchos of Live Oak County. Her roots sunk deep in the caliche soil, like the old oak tree whose branches stretch across kin and country. Her family's generational tales are rich with history and cultural heritage, spun on porch swings, at kitchen tables, and under a scatter of starlight, echoing the voices of people who shaped her. Marivel's storytelling is a way of honoring this legacy, ensuring the vibrant history, and ensuring the spirit that her ancestors will live on. She now calls Pawnee, Texas, home. She has spent decades, I hate it when pages stick together, don't you? Decades weaving storytelling into the fabric of education and culture. She served as the George West Story Fest Storytelling in the Schools Chairman 2017-2018. She's been a Dobie Dichos board member since 2021 and devoted 13 years to the Pawnee ISD School Board. For her, every story is a root and every listener a branch reaching toward tomorrow. Please help me welcome Marivel Mendez DeLeon.
Good evening. I would first like to thank everybody that has showed up in support. I do have a surprise guest this evening. The Latchams were part of my journey in reading stories, writing stories, and I have lots of family here as well, and some friends that have traveled from far, far away. So thank you. This was my... Sorry, I'm really nervous. I'm usually on the other side. So tonight I'll be reading The Bullet Swallower by Jovita Gonzalez. He was a weary little man, a bundle of nerves in perpetual motion. Quicksilver may have run through his veins instead of blood. His right arm, partially paralyzed as a result of a machete cut he had received in a saloon brawl, terminated in stiff, claw-like, dirty, nailed fingers. One eye was partially closed. A knife had done that. But the other, amber in color, had the alertness and the quickness of a hawk's. Chairs were not made for him. Squatting on the floor or sitting on one heel, he told interminable stories of border feuds, bandit raids, and smuggler fights as he fingered a curved, murderous knife which ended in 3 inches of zigzag, jagged steel. "No one has ever escaped this," he would say, caressing it. "Sticking it into a man might not have finished him. But getting it out, that, my friend, that did the work. It's a very old one, bought from Spain, I guess," he would add in an unconcerned voice. "Here it is, the date, 1630. A landowner by inheritance and a trail driver by necessity, and a smuggler and gambler by choice. He had given up the traditions of his family to be and do which pleased him the most. Through some freakish mistake, he had been born 3 centuries too late. He might have been a fearless conquistador, or he might have been a chivalrous knight of the Rodrigo de Narvaez type, fighting the infidels along the Moorish frontier. A tireless horseman, a man of pelo en pecho, hair on his chest, as he braggingly called himself. He was afraid of nothing. The men of my time were not lily-livered, white-gizzard creatures, he would boast. We fought for the thrill of it, and the sight of blood maddened us, just as it would a bull. Did we receive a gash in the stomach? Did the guts come out? What of it? We tightened our sash and continued the fray. See this arm? Could it but talk, it could tell you how many men it sent to the other world. To hell, perhaps. Perhaps purgatory. None, I'm sure, to heaven. The men I associated with were neither sissies nor saints. Often, at night, when I cannot sleep because of the pain in these cursed wounds, I say a prayer in my way for their souls, in case my prayers should reach the good God. People call me Tragabalas, bullet swallower. Antonio Tragabalas, to be more exact. When I was young, as young as I was when the incident that gave me this name happened. We were bringing several cartloads of smuggled goods to be delivered at once and in safety to the owner. Oh no, the freight was not ours, but we would have fought for it with our lives' blood. We would have dodged the Mexican officials, and now we had to deal with the Texas Rangers. They must have been tipped because they knew the exact hour when we were to cross the river. We swam in safety, the pack mules loaded with packages wrapped in tanned hides. We led by the bridle. We hid the mules in a clump of tools and were just beginning to dress when the Rangers fell upon us. Of course, we did not have a stitch of clothes on. Did you think we swam fully dressed? We had we but our guns in readiness, there might have been a different story to tell tonight. We would have fought like wildcats to keep the smuggled goods from falling into their hands. It was not ethical amongst smugglers to lose the property of Mexicans to Americans. And as to falling ourselves into their hands, we preferred death 1,000 times. It's no disgrace or dishonor to die like a man, but it is to die like a rat. Only canaries sing. Men never tell, however tortured they may be. I have seen the Rangers pumping water into the mouths of innocent men because he could not confess to something that he had not done. But that is a different story. I ran to where the pack mules were to get my gun. Like a fool I kept yelling at the top of my voice, "You so-and-so gringo cowards, why don't you attack us like men? Why do you wait until we are undressed and unarmed?" I must have said something very insulting, for one of them shot me in the mouth. The bullet knocked out all of my front teeth, grazed my tongue, and went out the back of my neck. Didn't kill me, though. It takes more than bullets to kill Antonio Tragabalas. The next thing I knew, I had found myself in a shepherd's hut. I had been left for dead, no doubt, and I had been found by the goat herd. The others were sent to the penitentiary. After I recovered, I remained in hiding for a year or so. When I showed myself, all thought it was a miracle that I had lived through that. That's how I was rechristened Tragabalas. That confounded bullet did leave my neck a little stiff. I can't turn around as easily as I should. But outside of that, I am as fit as the accident, like I like to call it, had never happened. It takes a lot to kill a man, at least one who swallows bullets. Thank you.
Okay, here's time for our Q&A. Just take a breath, Marivel. You're great. You're great. Okay, Marivel, why did you select that particular story to share with us this evening? What was it about that story?
So I want to ask first if my mom. Can you hear me? Okay. I picked the story because growing up, I had a mother who, sorry, my mom worked a lot. So I had to follow her everywhere she went if I wanted to hang out with her. And she worked many jobs. She and I didn't get along a lot whenever I was younger because I never understood why she had to work so much, but I followed her anyways. And one of my favorite things to do with her was to visit historical markers. We would go through the Caller Times, or we would go through the San Antonio Express News, and we would find interesting stories that were written about Texas history and see if they had any type of history of that county, and we would travel to that town and look for historical markers. So that was kind of our quality time that we spent together, was going to look for historical markers. And when you mentioned to me about the historical marker and Jovita Gonzalez, I did a lot of research on her as well, and I thought it would be perfect tying in her Mexican roots and then just the time that I spent with my mom.
Oh, that's sweet. That's great. So the second question I'm going to ask you this evening is, what have the writings of J. Frank Dobie meant to your family?
Very good question. Again, I circle this back to my mother. We come from a family that is very tied in to the Dobie family, but one thing that we did, like I said, I didn't get to spend a lot of time with her like other children did, but one thing that we did do was when we did find these books, she had a lot of time in the library. Mom always said, we're gonna go to the library, we're gonna find it in the library. Everything you find in the library. And so we would take trips to the library, we would read newspaper articles, and she has a book. She has J. Frank Dobie books, and then she also has a book called The Trail Drivers of Texas. Trail Drivers of Texas. And so the most fun thing to do was to find these stories in J. Frank Dobie's books, these people in his books and his stories, and then we'd run to the big Trail Drivers of Texas book, and we'd start looking up cool. where they went and who was involved. She talks about these people like they're her friends. And so oh yeah, he was there. And Goodnight was there too. And everybody was there to party with J. Frank Dobie on these trail drives. And so we could tie those in to every one of his books or every article that was ever written about him, which is also how we found the Chappas. And so we looked into them as well. And so there was a time when the museum in San Antonio had the Wests of Texas exhibit.
That was at the Whitty.
Yes, at the Whitty, and we took her for her birthday.
Oh, cool.
And we were also able to see everything that we had been reading about for all of these years in the museum as well. So it was really nice. But everything, the only reason that I know so much about Texas history, about Live Oak County history, and about J. Frank Dobie is because of my mother.
Well, how about a round of applause for Mickey Mendez?
And I told her I wasn't going to talk about her tonight.
And you didn't tell the truth, did you? Well, Marivel, thank you very much. Let's get another hand for Marivel Mendez DeLeon. Thank you, Marivel.
Thank you.
And she's got her board member shirt on, by the way.
let the world pass me by, and I